another one of my cooking shows where I have obviously rebranded as the Bastard Cook just because it made more sense considering I am a legit bastard by the legal terms. You can't like be like, oh, this is offensive. Ah, no, I'm actually a bastard. In the most legal of terms, I am a bastard. And I'm not always single, so the single life of cooking never made sense. I don't always want to be single. I am mostly single most of the time, which sucks. But don't always want to be, right? And the simple life, well, my life is definitely not simple. So that didn't make sense either. But the bastard cook made sense because I am a bastard and I do get on a lot of people's nerves because I'm very challenging. People don't like honesty. They want honesty. Oh, they say they want honesty, but they don't want honesty. That's the problem. Because I'm also going to get a little bit honest. The format I'm kind of doing now is when I'm cooking something, I'm going to sort of look at the origins of what I'm cooking and where it came from, and sort of talk about a little bit about the history of the area where it came from, whether it's the country or even if I knew the region or something. Because sometimes regionally things can be a bit slightly culturally different within a region of a country. Like Italian culture, there's like the general Italian culture, but then there's also the different regions where that kind of changes. Even in Canada too, right? Like someone from Alberta doesn't really have the same full culture as someone from Ontario versus someone from Quebec versus someone from like out east, like Newfoundland or PEI. Like the cultures are kind of all different there too. Like Canadian culture is pretty different. And then the First Nations cultures also on this land, there's like 654 at least or more. And they all have their sort of, I mean, they have similarities between their cultures, but like there are differences too between those cultures. So yeah, that was a bit of a ramble. Yeah, another thing too, I'm gonna go by Jack professionally just because the whole idea of Jack comes more from like a jack of all trades, because I've always had to be skilled in many areas in order to survive, but I'm not like a specialist anywhere. So kind of a jack of all trades. So that's why. And plus it's just fun. It's fun. Just go by Jack. Whatever. Girl that goes by Jack. It's fun. It's kind of like Becky Lynch when she went by the man, right? Whatever. Let's do it. So yeah, today what I am going to do is make sort of a bastard carbonara, which is like, you know, the bacon pasta. So what I have here is I have my bacon bits, some onion, and I'm going to also throw in some red peppers because I like the idea of trying to throw in vegetables when you can to things just to help. And then yes, I have my pasta, so I'm going to use a linguine. Usually it's made with a spaghetti, but linguine is also a common form of pasta, so I'm going to use linguine. And I have my garlic and my Parmesan cheese. But instead of using the egg, which I know is probably going to be traditionalists, are going to be like, oh my God, you're not using egg. I'm going to use olive oil. So like at least I'm replacing it with an ingredient that is also from that region. So it's going to be fine. And plus it's called a bastard carbonara. What I'm doing is I'm going to kind of modify a dish the way I want to for funsies and creativity. Because you can go and find a lot of different traditional carbonara recipes out there. So what would be the point in watching this, right? So yes, I'm going to put all these together. This is actually a very simple, quick dish to make too, which is awesome. And let's do this. So yeah. Bit of a history of the carbonara. It is from Rome, so Italy, obviously, but it was created during the Roman time, so it's a Roman dish. And yeah, so I don't also feel bad about modifying Roman dish either, because like when Rome was at its height, they did a lot of colonization and all that stuff, and they also created Christian, like they pretty much created Christianity. I mean, Christianity was born in the Middle East, but they were really the ones that sort of fully formed it and molded it and structured it and spread it around the world. And I'm an atheist, so like part of that is because of the destruction I've seen Christianity do, and also a lot of other religions have done. And, you know, we see here in Canada with First Nations, genocide here wasn't really necessarily a straight genocide of what Germany did with the whole Holocaust. It was more of a slow cultural genocide where they like took kids and they threw them in residential schools and they like Christianized them and they gave them Christian names, and like even like they say white names. Like when you say the white culture and white names, it's a white Christian culture is what people are talking about. Like so like a lot of names in Celtic culture got also Christianized from their Celtic version of the names. So like a lot of different other groups within Europe even had a lot of their culture and language wiped out because it was Christianized. And so, and that was like that with like with the residential schools, it was, you know, horrendous because they took kids and they did a lot of like abusive things to them and all this crap and killed many of them. And then the ones who did, you know, get through the residential schools, they just like threw them out at 18 and kind of left them on their own to just no resources, no family network, anything like that. And that's what a lot of people don't get. It's like a lot of how you get to where you are in life is often via network. A lot of people who come from more privileged places have more connections, and people from less privileged places have no connections at all. And this is often with the First Nations kids who were like pushed out onto the street at 18. They weren't sent back to their families, and they were just often left to be them by themselves and have no network and just survive. And so like yeah, it's torturous. And you know that comes up from racism, but it also comes from religion as well, and Christianity. And it's yeah, this just got dark. Yeah, I'm a bastard. Okay, so let's lighten this shit up. Let's make this food. Let's make this food. All right, so our obvious first step is to boil water for pasta. So I have my pastas cooking in there now. And so now I am starting my bacon. All right, so now I am throwing in my red peppers. And mix that up a bit. And then I'm going to throw in my onion. So our next step is I'm going to throw in some garlic. Just stir that up. So as my pasta's finishing up, I'm going to reduce the heat on this. Reduce the heat and make sure that this doesn't burn on me. Okay, so this pasta is ready to go. I have a little bit of water left in there just to help keep it from sticking from the bottom. Because what we'll do is we'll take this stuff and we'll just pour it on top. And then we're just going to mix this all together. I'm going to grab my olive oil. And I'm just going to pour a bunch on top. Just as much as you want. Whatever amount that feels good for you. We're just going to mix that all up. Yeah, so you want to be cooking this on like a medium heat. You don't want to like overcook it or anything, but you want to get everything like going together. All right, and then our final step is the Parmesan cheese. Just sprinkle that shit all on there. So you got your cheese, and then you just want to mix that all together. Oh yeah. All right. It is the moment of truth. My bastard carbonara. Ooh, look at it. It looks delicious. So delicious. So let's try this out. Let's see how this tastes. I don't know if you can see the steam. Oh, I got my own hair in here. Of course I did. It's fine if you get your own hair in there. So good. I was holding on to my hair, wasn't I, when I was doing that like that? Whatever. That's how good it was. Didn't even care. It's very good. Very delicious. Well, that is the end of my rebrand episode, and I have another full-up rebrand episode. So take a look at that one as well. And if you do try any of these recipes that I do, I hope you enjoy them as well.